Executives Main Street, and I'm here with my buddy Chan Patrick at First Volunteer here in Etowah, Tennessee. Yeah, which is in McMinn County. But remember, he can do loans for anybody, anywhere. Okay, and the reason we like to think of ourselves as kind of like the hometown team, because Chan and I went to high school together and college, and our moms went to school together. So again, we've known each other for a long time and we know each other's strengths, and so we would love to work with you on finding a home here in East Tennessee. And you might have seen our video we did, I don't know, a couple of months ago.
Yeah, about 3 months ago.
Yeah, about 3 months ago. And we just kind of did a summary of some questions that we had been asked for, real estate. And so we're going to kind of start narrowing that down. So this is our second video, and we're here in Chan's office here at First Volunteer in Etowah, Tennessee, just off of 411 too. So if you want to come in and talk with him at any time, he would love that, or he can talk to you on the phone or email or text, whatever.
Always on.
Yeah, exactly. So what we want to kind of focus on, we've got some questions here that again have been asked to us from our first video. So we're just going to kind of start there, Chan. So we kind of trade places. So at the beginning of the process, you talk with Chan and you get your pre-approval, and then you would work with me, and he kind of takes a little pause, a little breather, and we go out and we find you the house that you want based on your pre-approval letter, and our offer gets accepted and we're under contract. Then I kind of take a step back, and you're probably thinking, okay, well, what happens next? I've got this offer, I'm under contract on this property, what happens next? And so that kind of goes back into Chan's court again, so I'm going to let him address what happens next. Does your credit get pulled again, or kind of take us down that road, Chan?
Sure. So when you do get the contract, you send it back to me, that you've already got everything done for you. So we get everything up to underwriters. We go through, make sure that the approval process, make sure that you are still within the guidelines of how much you're approved for. We do put everything up to the underwriters. They come back, and there's usually conditions about every time. Sometimes they're minor, sometimes they're a little more major. Some of the examples are we have to have at least 60 days of bank statements. Sometimes those go out of date, so we have to do another bank statement. At that point, we don't pull your credit anymore, though, and the underwriters don't pull it again. So from that point forward, we go forward with it, and we see any of the conditions come through. They will have to be cleared out before you get the clear to close. At the clear to close, we start getting with the title company for a closing for you, and then as soon as we get that done, we set up a date. As soon as the appraisal comes back and the title work comes back that we have to get also, and when it all comes back in and we clear to close, we meet, sign off, and you're in your new home.
Yay, that's exciting.
Yes, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, because as I said, we kind of trade roles. You're kind of busy with him at the beginning, and then he pauses, and then it's my turn and my turn to shine. And then once we get under contract, I pause, and it kind of goes back into his court. And a lot of our clients don't realize that. They're like, why don't I hear from Melody anymore? Or when we're home buying, why don't I hear from Chan anymore? It's just, we have to take the lead on different things. And so I know one thing that I've been asked a lot lately, which is kind of weird and unique all at the same time, is in this process, so I'm under contract and it's gone to the underwriters, like Chan said. I have a timeshare. Do I need to let my mortgage officer, do I need to let them know that? And I mean, that wouldn't affect my credit, would it?
Of course it would. Very much so. When we do pull your credit, anything's on there attached to your social will show up. We use that to kind of figure out your debt to income, DTI, and we have to kind of make sure that you're in a certain frame. Then each loan has different parameters, what's called the front end and the back end. The front end is your DTI before incorporating a loan, and the back end is including the loan, and each program has different percentages. We do also, when we do what's called our opening pack, or LE, for loan estimates, there is a form in there that says that if there's any debt that you have not disclosed, we've not found, you have to let us know too, because eventually either us or the underwriters will find it, and it could possibly delay the loan or even kill the loan if your debt to income is over the amount. So like anything that, like I said, is attached to your social, we do need to know about it.
And I think that's very important, because I cannot tell you the number of times, like, we've been like halfway through a deal and then the client will say, well, I didn't think I needed to. It's not that they're trying to hide anything from us. They just don't realize, like a timeshare, that is considered debt. Also, a question that's been coming up is, 10 years ago, 2008, when the market was going kind of crazy, I filed for bankruptcy. Could that be off my credit by then? I mean, it's been, 14 years now? Would that be off my credit then? Do I need to disclose that? Can you briefly touch on that as well?
Well, there's different kind of bankruptcies. There's most common are 7 and 13. 7 is a bankruptcy for unsecured debt. 13 is for secured debt, so really anything. So think of it, 7 wouldn't have include like a car or home, 13 would. It really, again, on the programs, each one's different. Some you have to be out of bankruptcy 2 years, some after 3 years. Again, it depends on the program. If it has been long enough that you are out of bankruptcy and you have reestablished credit, the bankruptcy will usually will fall off, or will say on your credit has been paid in full. So again, it will probably be found, but if you're out of bankruptcy and you've reestablished credit, you can pretty much go forth the loan.
Perfect. And it's just always important, Chan and I will both agree, just be honest. Even if you think it's an insignificant thing, if you tell us up front, it's much better than if we have to find the surprises.
Yes. I had one time, and we're going through debt to income. They're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I had that house, but it's not. My daughter lives there, so it shouldn't affect me." But I said, "Well, you're showing up here that's in your credit. Oh well, my daughter's living there, so don't count it.
Yes.
That doesn't work that way. You do have to count everything."
Work. Yeah, you have to count everything. And again, most of the time, it's not an issue if you just let us know, or especially Chan let him know up front, and that way he can deal with it. Whereas if it's found, as I said, halfway through the process, it can sometimes lead to bigger issues that can't always be, completed. Right. So just let him know up front. It's all good. So we're under contract, because that's kind of what we're dealing with. Now that you're under contract, what happens next? And so I've had people say, well, can I buy furniture? Or, you know what, I want to get carpet installed. I'm going to go ahead and pay for it now, and that way at closing, they can just come in and do it. Would that be okay?
Absolutely not. No. Please don't ever do that. If you are approved and we're going through the contract and the process, you don't do anything to your credit. It's very, very important. Like I said, again, in the packet that we even have a form there stating that you will not take any more debt. Now, if you pay for something with cash and won't affect your reserves you do have for possibly down payment or your closing costs, you can use cash. One question I get a lot of times too is we do have to do an appraisal, and we have to have a credit card on file. And they're always like, well, won't this use this said not to use my credit or about getting a credit, but now here you're asking for a credit card. When we do run the credit card, it usually takes probably 2 months to hit your credit. So at that point, we hope to have everything closed. And it's not a huge amount for the appraisal. But going out and getting a car, getting a credit card, anything in your credit is a very big no-no.
So you're saying I should not open up a credit card during this time?
Nope.
I should not go buy a brand new car or a used car on credit?
Nope.
Don't do it. Okay. I even had some clients. They were did not even think about it. Was going to go ahead and pay for a moving truck and put it on the credit card. And I said, "Whoa, well, let's check with the mortgage officer just to make sure." Because again, every little thing is going to show up during the underwriting process.
And it could, like I said before, it could affect your debt to income, and that would throw it off too. And another thing too, so when we pull your credit, we go back on 90 days on it, 69 days depending on the program. And if you've had any kind of inquiries on there, we have to have it written out why you've done that. It's even before we've gotten to the contract point when you pull your credit. Mainly being that is, say if you got a credit card or you apply for something a month before you got in this contract, well, that credit, you may go to the credit card is going through. We haven't seen it yet though, so we've not adding to your debt to income. So we have to go back and refigure everything. That's another kind of common question. People do it before too. So and that's do it before you do this. It's okay. You just have to know about it.
Absolutely. Just be honest.
We're gonna find out either way.
Exactly.
So just let us know.
If it's insignificant, please still tell us. So here's a question that I was asked just yesterday. I had a potential client from out of state. They were here visiting. They're thinking, I don't understand this process. I've never bought a house before, or it's been many years. What fees do they need to pay during the time? So the house is under contract. What I know, for me, they usually only have to, well, they don't pay me, of course, but they pay for an inspection, a home inspection. But in regards to the lending world, what fees do they pay during this time?
For most of the programs, the only fee you'd pay up front, we're going to kind of touch on a lot of the appraisal. And it's usually between $500 to $700, and we do it on the credit card. We have to do that first because, let's say you're getting a loan for it's $100,000, and the house, you have to have it appraised for at least $100,000 to get the loan, but it comes back at $80,000. So that kind of would put a damper on the contract. So that when we do the loan estimate, we do include all the fees that you'll pay on the back end. We do also include that appraisal fee. So at the end, if you do owe money or we give money back to you, we will deduct that amount from it because you're paying up front. But yeah, up front, that's the only thing we have to have is the appraisal fee.
Okay, so that actually sounds good. So an inspection, any kind of inspection, home inspection, right on any kind of inspection, plus an appraisal fee.
Yes.
Those are funds that usually come out of your account during this time.
Yes.
So speaking of appraisal, are you saying that I absolutely have to have one to have a mortgage?
99% of the time, yes. There's a possibility of a way to get an appraisal waiver. I've seen one in a year, and that's really because of if they already know about the house or they have had contact with them before. So you always have to do an appraisal, especially now. It's a great idea because let's say you had your house appraised 5 years ago, it was $200,000. Well, that's probably $350 house now. So the appraisal, we do have to have those. And one thing I get asked too a lot, they're like, hey, can I just go ahead and get an appraisal and get it done on my own? I have my friend Jim Bob down the road and he can do it for half what you're asking. The answer is no. Because we have to stay arm's length from the appraisers, and we don't know when you and Jim Bob have cooked up some kind of scheme and making the house seem like it's worth more than it actually is. And when we do the appraisers, we contact a company, they send them out, so we stay arm's length from them. We can only contact them if we ask them to possibly look at something again, but the appraisal does have to be done, like I said, 99% of the time.
Yes, and that goes for us on the realtor side too. If I'm representing a buyer, I do not have any contact at all with the appraisal. That is strictly done with the mortgage lender. And then also they have to usually contact the listing agent to set up the appointment to do the appraisal. And I know sometimes if the weather's bad or something, they'll reschedule it. But yeah, even as a buyer's agent, if I'm representing a buyer, I have no contact at all with the appraiser. So it's just to be fair to everybody. They have a third, usually it's a third party that comes in, doesn't know Chan, doesn't know me, doesn't know you as the client, that come in and tries to establish the value of the home. Right. And like Chan said, the value is different now. So sometimes it's worth that $500 or $700 to pay for that appraisal to find out, oh, your house is actually worth more than what you thought it was. I mean, as a realtor, I can run a comp, but this is giving you, basis. And maybe, if you want to sell your house now, maybe you're downsizing, you want to sell your house now, make a profit on it, and, find something smaller, or, buy some land, and I don't know, do some crazy stuff. There's people out there doing that right now. So every day. Well, hope you'll tune in again. Again, we want to be your hometown team here. McMinn, Loudon, Monroe, Knox, Blunt. It doesn't matter. Whatever county you want, we're here to help you. All right.